Agenda item 18 is discussion, possible direction regarding alternative power sources. Mr. Barton.
Mr. Mayor, I believe at the second council meeting in November, I was directed by you to talk to alternative sources for power, alternatives that is to the Overton Power District. This was intended to be something informal. I have done so, and a report has been generated today and mailed to council.
Thank you. Councilman Gus Davison, this is under your directive. Would you like to make any other comments?
Yes. Yeah. Microphone. Yes, I asked that to be brought forward, for this to be brought forward, I think almost 2 months ago. And the reason I wanted it brought forward is because I was getting a lot of concerns from a lot of the public about why are we going ahead with this in the way we're going ahead with it. And we're not getting any feedback. Council's not getting any feedback, to the best of my knowledge. I haven't had not one word of discussion about this and where we were, where we had gone, and where we were going. And then it started coming back that we had council people, and along with yourself, and one newspaper reporter that were attending these meetings. And it was brought up, I was a little disappointed, I was a little shocked really in the technical meeting this week. Mr. Withelder, or Councilman Withelder, was looking at me, but he wasn't there, so he missed out. But it became a little bit, almost a little heated, because it seemed like I was asking for something that wasn't, I shouldn't be asking. And so I was, and when I spoke with you about it, I asked that you give us some background information what happened, and I didn't receive any background information. I waited 2 months for this to end up onto the agenda, and today I received later this afternoon a little bit of information by email, and so I thought that we'd be prepared to talk about exactly what had happened, and it looks like that we don't want to talk about it. So I guess I'll leave that up to the group here that made those calls. I do have some information now, and it was brought up in the tech meeting that these calls weren't, nobody was representing themselves as being from the city. But to me it seemed strange that 50% of our elected officials could be at a meeting and it had nothing to do with the city. And it was private individuals that were coming to see. And then when I got the information this afternoon, and I looked at who attended those meetings, particularly the meeting down in Valley, it ranged everybody, was all the way from the president on down, including all their legal staff and all of the officials of that entire organization. So if I were to go in there and say, geez, I'm really interested in talking to you about power, do you think I would, is it logical to think that all of those people would show up for that type of meeting? So I have a feeling that we were out actually, before we brought anything to council, before we had any legal discussions with our council or talked about in any way, shape, or form. And I don't know how many other council people had dialogue on it. I hope not too many, because the two that were involved, and that's two, if there's one more, then, or even if any of that information was shared before it went public or before in a legal session, I would think that we would have a walking forum and we'd never be able to vote on anything we did want to change it. And I'm not sure that we ever found out that we could change it. And I was hoping tonight maybe we could get an update on exactly what did occur, and, you know, what are the feelings, you know? The mayor was pretty emphatic about how important he thought it was, and, you know, I think there may have been some reason, you know, given what had gone on, to maybe take a look at that, but I don't think, given what the consequences might be to this community, if you start going out and making changes on things before you really have done what you need to do, is you need to do the legal background, you need to find out what the real costs are before you even go make those conversations, and you go have the conversations before you even know how this state feels about it in the legislature, since that is the organization who currently supplies our power is actually given that authority by the state. So did we go to did we take anything through the state legislature? Where are we on that? I just wish we would have a little more openness, and we've had a lot of talk about openness, and that's the way we want to be as a council. So, you know, I don't have a problem with this. Just be open. Let's do what we say. Let's walk the talk. So, I don't know if anybody want to talk about it, or do we just want to move on?
Councilman Robson.
I'd like to say a couple things real quick. One is, I think it would be important to read this summary because this fairly represents the 2 meetings I sat in, which I didn't make any claim that I wasn't part of the city. In fact, I gave them my city's business cards. And I think there's some confusion by Councilman Gustavus, and I did not represent the city at the Overton Power board meetings, and I clearly stated that when I met with these people at the request of the mayor. I was a councilman, but I was an interested councilman who has sat through several of the last board meetings and tried to be very clear about my distaste for the way they do business. Nothing nefarious, nothing goofy, nothing was decided, nothing was changed. Questions were asked with respect to, if we read this, simply, what are your rates? How do you bring power? How could you bring power to Mesquite? Is there a relationship possibility between you and Overton Power? And those questions were either answered yes or no, and it's pretty clear in these things right here. So there's nothing.
Councilman Hayden.
Well, first of all, I did sit at the meeting OPD had last Wednesday when they appointed the city appointment. I made it clear that I was there as a private citizen. I was there. I would like to clear up a couple things. The general manager at that point of OPD made the statement that tonight there was going to be a municipal takeover of Overton Power. I inferred from that on the agenda tonight was the Mesquite City Council was going to vote to take Overton Power. The mayor clarified that is not true. That has never been the mayor's intentions. When he directed staff to set up meetings, they were informal discussions. Now, I don't know about you, but to find out information, I have to sit across from people and ask questions. That's what has happened in those meetings. I'm here to tell you that if and when it's determined that it's a possibility that, one, your power rates will be lower, longer term, all the services that OPD does, that will come back to you to be addressed, discussed, and for you to vote on, okay? This mayor has no intentions of tomorrow coming and saying, look, we're no longer with Overton Power. That may or may not happen. Probably won't. He directed staff to have informal discussions. That is clearly within his right as mayor of Mesquite. He is the mayor. I guess my question, maybe if it was not quite so recent in the direction we're given, maybe we wouldn't have such heartburn, but I can tell you there has been nothing done that was out of line. There was merely conversation. And I can assure you that this mayor will not do anything that you will not be informed of and you will have input on. That is a significant change for the city of Mesquite. And I, as a council, will not let that happen unless it goes to a vote of the citizens. So some of the things have been said, whether it's come from whoever, when there's something to talk about, you will be informed. And Mayor, at the end of this conversation, I'd like to make a motion.
Councilman Rapson?
Yeah, I'll take it upon myself to read the notes. I think it's important, and I don't know if this got to the general public, but Dixie Escalante Cooperative, Mr. Liddell Lobb was contacted about the idea of providing power to services in the Mesquite area. He explored options with his contacts. In his opinion, Dixie Escalante is not in the right position at this time to make any advantageous endeavor for both parties. He didn't see any value in going forward. The main challenge for Dixie is that they have a choke point in their current system. Overcoming it just drives the cost up too much. Bottom line is, we can't give it to you any cheaper than OPD. Valley Electric Cooperative, December 4th, 2012, Mayor Weir, Councilman Rapson, and Hafen, who was city staff, met with Valley staff, CEO, COO, and General Counsel. During the meeting, Valley expressed interest in participating in the Mesquite market. They disclosed approaching Overton Power with an invitation to meet and discuss any possibly mutual beneficial relationships. Not a takeover, not anything else, a mutually beneficial relationship. They met on December 11th, based on reports from both OPD and VEA. The meeting did not bring to light any relationships. Therefore, it appears that little, if any, activity between the two parties will occur in the future. Valley Electric sent the city a copy of the agenda and the summary. And I think it's important to note in the summary that in fact, the review of the minutes of the meeting entirely of Mr. Latham's report to OPD's board was misleading and factually incorrect. This is from to Aaron Baker from Valley Electric, and that Mr. Latham would review the meeting discussion with the board and seek their consideration. VEA would follow up on the cost of having rural utilities. Finance Corporation provide preliminary merger savings studies. That was done on the 16th of January. There's no cost to either utility. Mr. Latham was going to follow up with other members of Silver State Power Authority, referring to which apparently he's never done. VEA asked OPD's consideration in the matter of Mesquite's independent power supply initiative. Mr. Latham stated that the city of Mesquite's efforts were an exercise in futility, but they had the right to move forward. He also, at VEA, insisted that the city in any way would be considered an act of aggression. There's clearly no appetite at OPD. They own all their transmission lines. They own all their power supply routes. It's not as simple as just walking up and saying, hey guys, we don't like you anymore. We need somebody else. There needs to be a mutual discussion of all the parties involved. The supplier, any potential other suppliers that may have a better source or cheaper source or a better run organization, and the users. And as Mr. Hafen said, any changes that impact the ratepayers will be brought to a vote. It's not going to be done by this council or other people. I mean, the bottom line is these meetings were benign, they were exploratory, and the minutes are available. Thanks.
Councilman Gustavson?
Yeah, I agree. They probably were, everything you said, they were Rapson. Because I do think that probably nothing is going to come of these. That's not the issue. I'm not talking about how OPD handled it with back to Valley Electric. What I'm talking about is the appropriateness of working together as a council. And when we work together as a council, we will succeed to do great things. But when we don't work together and we keep things aside and we don't share and we don't have any updating from the staff or from the mayor's office, then that is a problem because we're left out of the loop. Even if it's one councilman, if I'm the only one they've decided I don't need to know this, then I do need to know it. If there's three of us that didn't know it, then we all need to know it. And it's only fair that we do know it. And that's all I'm saying. I don't, if we think really that this is going to have something for us and it's going to give us lower rates, I don't have a problem with that. The only thing I have a problem with is that is that the mayor, and it was, I think Councilman Hafen said it well, the mayor was directed and he went ahead and directed staff. And then he directed council people. And that's where I have the problem, because the rest of the council was not brought into the loop, or nor were they, as far as I know, they were ever updated. And I don't know whether that's the case or not. Maybe I was just not updated, but if that's the case, that's even worse. Does that mean that we got some discrimination maybe going on? I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, but if that's the case, but so obviously there's 3 of us that have been left out of this, and this I think is the type of thing that would actually have to go to a vote as far as I'm concerned to the public. But I'm not even sure we can even do it at all. Anyway.
All right, I got a lot of lights. Mr. Barton.
Mr. Mayor, if anybody is culpable for getting the information to council too late, it would be me. But I'll tell you why it came today as opposed to several weeks ago. We wanted to talk to all of the parties involved before we could do a write-up and send it to council. The last group that we talked to, NV Energy, we spoke to the week before last. We were expecting some information from them. We didn't receive it all, but in consideration of what was on the agenda tonight, we thought we'd get it to you. But again, it was never staff's intent to hold this up, to play favorites, to just get this to a selected few. It was always my intent to get this information out to everybody, mayor and the full council, as soon as I had enough information.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. I believe Mr. Hafen, your light was on first. Councilman Hafen, I apologize.
Just like to clarify a couple things. I have never been directed by the mayor. I want to make that clear. He asked me to come. I think there cannot be 3 council members there, but I have never been directed. I also stated earlier that when there's information for you to know, you will know that. And I also stated, and let me repeat, if it comes to a change of power providers in the city of Mesquite, the citizens of Mesquite will determine whether that happens or not. From my perspective as a councilman, I will not be one person that votes on that. That'll be done by you. And there has never been any intent on the mayor's part to slight anybody, to leave anybody out or not inform the public. Informal discussions was his direction, and Mr. Barton and staff have followed his direction, and he is the mayor. He has that right. If we don't like that, we as a council can put it on the agenda, and four out of 5 of us can vote to say, Mayor, no.
Councilman Ramsden.
I'd just like to echo that sentiment. I was not directed to attend any meeting, and never have been, and will not be directed by anybody but the voters. Now, having said that, I was asked to attend, presumably because I was one of 2 councilmen who've shown interest in the Overton Power issue, in the questionable management activities, fee hikes, and so forth. So yes, I have shown an interest in power providers, and the people who are running it, and presumably that's why I was asked to attend 2 meetings and not directed. And I did it gladly and would do it again. It was very informative. Thanks.
Councilman Gustavson.
No, you're getting tired of hearing from me, but, you know, we're talking about it'll be up to the public to make a decision. That's right, it will be end up being up to the public to make a decision. But, you know, I don't understand why if we as a community are unhappy with the board of the power company or the general manager of the power company, we don't do it the good old-fashioned American way. Craig is talking about the good old-fashioned American way, and that's everybody voting on it. And I'm for that 100%. But you know what? But we don't like what's going on at the power company. We have the votes, you know. How many votes are down in the valley versus how many votes are in Mesquite? How many times people in Mesquite don't sign up to run for those positions? So, you know, if you want to be activists, be activists. But don't send out messages that developers that might be coming to this area and stuff are looking at it and say, uh-oh, they got some problems with the power, we may not want to go there. We have enough hills to climb without generating some more for ourselves. And it just seems to me, let's do it the right way, guys. If you don't like what's going on, go to the ballot box.
Further, Councilman? Just saw your light on, thank you. I want to thank Councilman Gus Davison for bringing this forward. We are all entitled to our opinions. And one major change that I made as mayor was to promise every councilman that sits on this dais that if they wish to bring something forward, it no longer takes 2 councilmen or women. We have an election coming up, that's a possibility. It only takes 1. They have a right to that opinion. It will always be honored by this mayor, whether it's an opinion that I don't hold or whether I hold that opinion. You have the right for your opinion. Just want to clarify one particular issue for the public. There is substantial amounts of NRS and substantial amounts of ordinance out there that basically gives the mayor, at least in the city of Mesquite, we are a 266 city. We are under that particular law, under NRS, and that is a mayor-council form of government. It's not a council manager. We certainly have the right to change if we wish to put a charter committee together, and don't see that as something that I want to do. I've been through too many of those. But we are mayor-council at this point under NRS 266, and under 266, the mayor is the chief executive of the city. We are responsible for the careful supervision over the general affairs of the city. And under the city manager, under the ordinance 1-7-5-4 powers and duties, this is middle of the paragraph. Insofar as the mayor is chief executive officer of the city under Nevada Revised Statutes 266.165, with attendant responsibilities, powers, and duties as described in Nevada Revised Statutes 266.190, the manager shall direct his/her efforts toward assisting the mayor in accomplishing these described objectives, powers, and responsibilities. It is well within a mayor's responsibilities and rights and powers to direct. Mr. Barton or other appointed officials are not allowed to go and direct other staff members. I know that that type of direction has certainly been a part of the past. It will not stop with me as mayor. If we wish to change that, these ordinances can be changed. We'll have to change the charter, change to a charter if we wish to leave NRS 266. I just want people to know clearly that this was not done secretly. I sat from this dais. I asked Mr. Barton to do it from this dais. He is reporting back to us as we move forward. We held one meeting with Valley, and that was first week in December, second week in December. I did not attend the Nevada Power. Is that the correct term for that company? I haven't attended that one. I never directed anybody, the 2 councilors, to show there, the 2 councilmen. It's their right to be there, and in fact, Valley Electric, through private citizens, contacted us and wanted to talk to us. Bottom line, there is no way on this planet we are going to make any change, nor will I condone any change from Overton Power that is not voted on by the public. That is your decision, not ours. The intent is simply to gather as much information as we can. That's what we have done. Hopefully we will continue to do that. And I'll just leave it at that. And at this point, there is possible action on this, and we'll seek a motion, unless there's any other comment. Councilman Hafen.
Yeah, Mayor, I would move that we as a council support your direction at the November 2012 council meeting with full support of the council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call for that vote. That Motion carries. Thank you.
It's John Williams, citizen of Mesquite. Thank you all for the wonderful discussion about what I'm going to talk about. Next Thursday, we have formed a citizens committee to look into the potential for different arrangements or changes in the way we deal with our current provider of electric power in Mesquite. Sometimes we, the people, the citizens, can maybe help direct our elected officials. The purpose of this committee, and at the meeting will be next Thursday, the 30th at 5 p.m. at the Holiday Inn Hotel. I still call it the Falcon Ridge Hotel, but it's now the Holiday Inn. Open to every citizen. Please participate. We have several people in the group that have extensive power and power company regulation backgrounds. The purpose will not be to have one meeting. Purpose will be to, over the next several and many months, to inform the citizenry about things they may or may not know about how a power district is formed and how it operates and how we, the citizens, can have some participation in it. And also look at the potential costs, different methods, different things that we may or may not do as a city to try and improve the future of the power supply for the city of Mesquite. So thank you for your discussion. We know you're going to continue to work on it. We expect and hope to have a rousing group of citizens who will participate in numerous meetings. And by the way, hopefully we'll come up with some conclusions and some information that'll help you guys make decisions, because we're going to do a lot of research. And so that's our purpose. And we'll try and do what we can to help you, and also to make sure the people of Mesquite are open to getting information and having input, so that maybe they can even ask the folks that are running for seats in this next election some questions and find out, maybe make that part of the reason they make their decision on who to vote for is depending on what their stance on power supply for the future is. Thank you.